The corn looks ready. The plants are turning brown, the ears are full, and harvest season is getting closer. But American farmers know one thing: looking ready doesn't always mean being ready. Before a giant combine enters the field, farmers need to know one critical number: the moisture level inside the corn kernels. This simple test can help determine when harvesting should begin, how much drying may be needed, and how the grain will be stored. So, how do farmers actually check it? Let's go into the field. Scene 1, late August. In late August, corn across the United States is approaching one of the most important moments of the growing season. The kernels have developed, the crop is reaching maturity, and natural drying is beginning. But every field is different. Some areas may mature faster than others because of soil conditions, planting dates, weather, or crop health. That's why farmers don't simply look across the field and guess. They take samples. Scene 2, taking a sample. A farmer may walk into different parts of the field and select several representative ears. The goal is to collect a sample that gives a realistic picture of the crop. The ears are opened, and kernels are removed for testing. This step may look simple, but it is important. If a farmer tests only one unusually dry ear, the result may not represent the entire field. A good sample gives the farmer a much better idea of what the combine will actually find when harvest begins. Scene 3, the moisture meter. Now the sample goes into one of the most useful small tools on the farm: a grain moisture meter. The farmer places the corn into the device, and within seconds, the meter provides a moisture reading. That percentage tells the farmer how much water is still contained in the grain. A higher reading means wetter corn. A lower reading means drier corn. The exact target depends on the farmer's storage system, drying equipment, market requirements, and local conditions. But the basic goal is always the same: harvest at the right time, not simply the earliest time. Scene 4, why moisture matters. If corn is harvested too wet, it may require additional drying before storage. And drying thousands of bushels requires energy, equipment, and time. That can quickly become a major cost. But waiting too long has risks too. As mature corn remains in the field, strong winds can knock plants down, storms can damage ears, and grain losses can increase. So farmers are constantly balancing two problems: harvest too early, and pay more to dry it. Wait too long, and risk losing valuable grain in the field. Scene 5, watching the change. That's why farmers don't necessarily test the crop only once. They may check moisture again after several days. They want to know not only the current number, but also how quickly the corn is drying. Warm, dry weather can speed up natural drying, while cool or wet conditions can slow it down. The weather forecast therefore becomes just as important as the moisture reading. And when the numbers finally move into the desired range, the next challenge begins: getting the massive harvest operation ready. The combines, grain carts, trucks, dryers, and storage systems all need to work together. And that's where the moisture test becomes the starting point for the entire American corn harvest. In Part 2, we'll follow that corn from the field into the combine, and see what happens when farmers discover the grain is still too wet. The moisture meter has given the farmer a number. But that number is only the beginning. Now comes the real decision. Is the corn dry enough to harvest, or should the farmer wait? For American farmers, this decision can affect the entire harvest operation. Scene 1, when the corn is still wet. Suppose the farmer checks the field and the corn is still carrying too much moisture. The combine could still harvest it, but the grain may need additional drying afterward. That means more energy, more time, and higher costs. So sometimes the smartest decision is simply to wait. The farmer watches the weather, checks the field again, and waits for the kernels to naturally lose more moisture. But waiting always comes with another risk. A mature crop is still standing in the field. And weather can change quickly. Scene 2, when weather changes everything. A dry, warm week can help corn lose moisture naturally. But a storm can bring a completely different situation. Strong winds can push mature plants toward the ground. heavy rain can delay harvest. And poor field conditions can make it difficult for heavy machinery to operate. This is why farmers don't make the harvest decision using moisture alone. They combine the moisture reading with the weather forecast, field conditions, crop maturity, and equipment availability. It's a calculated decision. Scene 3, the combine starts. When the moisture and field conditions finally look right, the massive combine enters the field. The machine moves through rows of corn, collects the ears, separates the kernels from the plant material, and sends the grain into its large grain tank. But even now, moisture remains important. The harvested corn is being transported from the field to the next stage. Trucks and grain carts move it toward storage or a grain handling facility. And if the grain is too wet for safe storage, it may need to go through a grain dryer. Scene 4, drying the corn. A grain dryer uses controlled heat and airflow to remove excess moisture. This process allows farmers to prepare the corn for storage. But drying costs money. The wetter the grain, the more drying may be required. That's why farmers try to find the right balance before harvest. Harvesting slightly wetter corn may allow them to get ahead of bad weather. Harvesting drier corn may reduce drying expenses. There isn't one perfect decision for every farm. The right choice depends on conditions. Scene 5, into storage. After drying, the corn can move into grain bins or other storage systems. But the farmer's job isn't finished. Stored grain must be monitored. Temperature and moisture conditions need to remain under control so the corn can maintain its quality. Fans and aeration systems may be used to manage conditions inside the bin. The goal is simple. Protect the grain until it is ready to be sold or used. Scene 6, why this small test matters. And this is what makes the moisture test so important. It may look like a farmer checking a few kernels with a small digital meter. But behind that simple number is a much bigger decision. When should the combine start? How much drying will be needed? Can the grain go directly into storage? Should the farmer wait for better conditions? Every percentage point can matter when thousands of bushels are involved. Ending? So, before America's massive corn harvest begins, farmers are already making decisions long before the first combine crosses the field. They check the kernels. They measure moisture. They watch the weather. And when the conditions finally line up, the machines go to work. From one small sample of corn to thousands of acres of harvest, moisture testing helps farmers make one of the most important decisions of the season. When is the corn truly ready? Because in American farming, harvest isn't simply about knowing when the corn looks ready. It's about knowing when the numbers say it's ready. And that's when the real harvest begins.